What if the person you trusted most wished you away only to face the consequences years later? Dive into this gripping tale of hidden fortunes, betrayal, and calculated justice. Read on to discover how it unfolds, and let me know your take in the comments below. Alexander Hayes examined the schematics laid out on his executive suite desk. At 42, he had transformed Vanguard Innovations from a startup into a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse in artificial intelligence, though few realized his full control. To the world, he appeared as a humble professional in simple attire, a deliberate facade to shield his immense influence and assets. A decade earlier, he had encountered Emily Carter at a high-profile gala in New York City. She was captivating with her sharp features and a drive that sparkled in her gaze. Their romance had ignited quickly and intensely. Alexander had been wary about disclosing his complete financial empire scarred by past opportunists. He projected the image of a solid mid-level strategist with his real investments concealed through layers of holding firms and confidential funds. "Mr. Hayes, your afternoon meeting is ready," his secretary announced via the speaker. "Let him through, Karen." Michael Brooks stepped in, Alexander's lifelong confidant and the sole individual aware of his vast domain. They had risen from the same working-class area in Chicago, forging ahead with relentless grit. "Still acting like a regular executive while commanding billions," Michael remarked, settling into the plush seat across from him. Alexander smirked slightly. "Emily believes my salary tops out at around $250,000 annually. Lately, she's been urging me to aim higher. In the meantime, she's advancing rapidly at Apex Solutions, as if her future hinges on it." Michael noted, pouring himself a whiskey from Alexander's private stock. "She's in line for that senior director role. The event is coming up soon." Alexander's tone remained neutral. "And you'll attend as the loyal spouse who might not pick the correct tie or recall the proper etiquette." Michael's words carried a hint of resentment he had never taken to Emily. "She has no clue I provided the seed funding that rescued Apex Solutions 4 years back, or that I've been steadily purchasing equity in it over the last 2. Why maintain this charade, Alex? What's the goal?" Alexander's expression grew firm. "Remember what went down with Sophia? I had to confirm this time. Sophia, his university love who abandoned him when his initial venture collapsed only to attempt a return once his next project soared. The ordeal had left deep wounds. Alexander's device buzzed an alert from the monitoring setup in their residence. Activity in the primary bedroom at 2:17 p.m. on a weekday when Emily should be at the office. "We'll soon know," Alexander murmured. Emily Carter adjusted her look in the reflection once more. Her tailored gray suit conveyed precisely the authority she sought, commanding, refined, relentless. At 35, she was on track to be the youngest senior director at Apex Solutions ever. If only her partner shared her fire. Alexander was reliable, steady, but completely without the aggressive edge she desired. He would never rise to the influential figure she envisioned in a mate, yet he was supportive, dependable, and helpfully uncurious about her extended hours. Her device chimed a message from Jonathan Reed, her immediate manager at Apex and the one who had been in her intimate life for the past 7 months. "My spot in half an hour. Let's review your advancement prior to the verdict." Emily grinned. She had secured this step up through both professional prowess and private encounters. Jonathan had shown interest from day one, his glances wandering during discussions, creating reasons for overtime collaboration. When he first proposed chatting about her path over a meal, she anticipated the direction. She responded, "Heading over. Should I include the outline for the Harrison project?" "Only you, and perhaps that black set." Emily's pulse quickened. The liaison had been exhilarating. Jonathan embodied all Alexander lacked: authoritative, networked, thrilling. The danger heightened the excitement. She departed the office prematurely, claiming a headache to her aide, and headed home to prepare before seeing Jonathan. As she donned the black ensemble he had gifted her, she overlooked the discreet notification dispatched to her spouse's device. Alexander reviewed the surveillance recording for the third, viewing his demeanor stoic as he saw his wife arrive in their sleeping quarters, switch into unfamiliar attire, and exit. The log indicated she had skipped work for more than 2 hours under the guise of sessions. "Damn, Alex," Michael said from behind, eyeing the display. "This is tough." "No need for sympathy," Alexander replied flatly. "I've had doubts for weeks. Now it's verified." "What's your plan?" Alexander deactivated the screen. Who do we have inside Apex? Robert Jenkins in accounting. He's been with us for ages, and Sarah Thompson in personnel. Instruct them to investigate further. I need details on her partner, the duration, and her objectives. Alexander's fingers tapped rhythmically on the surface. And reach out to Laura. Adjustments to my assets are required. Laura Simmons had managed Alexander's legal affairs for over a decade, handling his intricate transactions with sharp precision. Soon, Alexander had a name: Jonathan Reed, top executive at Apex Solutions Wed with Kids, infamous for pursuing driven females in the firm. Per Sarah, Emily had been spotted leaving his workspace late, appearing rumpled afterward. Billing records, overlapping reimbursements, and communications pulled by Robert's tech ally formed a vivid narrative. Michael observed his companion closely. You're handling this remarkably calmly. Did you anticipate outbursts, smashing objects? Alexander inquired, his composure unsettling. That's not my style. True, Michael concurred. You're the type who strategizes patiently until opponents miss the strike. Alexander's line rang. Emily. He picked up, sounding entirely ordinary. Hey, how's the day? Draining. These leadership reviews are exhausting me. Her fabrication flowed smoothly. I'll be delayed again. No need to stay awake. Sure. Best of luck. Alexander ended the call, his face unchanged. Next step, Michael questioned. Alexander accessed a file displaying his Apex Solutions shares now at 28%. I've acquired via proxies for years. The present head, Charles Benson, plans to step down. He owns 23% and has been quietly seeking buyers. You're acquiring the firm, Michael appeared astonished. I'll control it, Michael, and neither Emily nor her paramour will realize until the moment arrives. Jonathan Reed trailed his hand along Emily's exposed spine as she rested next to him in the suite. The panel convenes tomorrow for the director picks, he whispered. I've advocated strongly for you. Emily faced him. And Wilkins was favoring Thompson for his tenure, but I persuaded him you're the next generation. Jonathan's touch wandered. You'll secure it, darling. Emily beamed. What about post-advancement? We can't hide forever. Jonathan's face cooled a bit. Let's handle one phase at a time. My separation would be messy. I'm not referring to your split, Emily said cautiously. I mean collaborating publicly as peers, unless you fear perceptions of favoritism. Jonathan laughed. But that's precisely how it occurred, right? The remark stung, but Emily forced a chuckle. We both recognize I'm the top choice. The intimacy just allowed me to demonstrate it. If that eases your conscience, Jonathan muttered, glancing at his device. On that note, you should head out. My spouse is growing wary. En route home, Emily's thrill over the role clashed with the bitterness from Jonathan's comment. Yet it was irrelevant. With the director spot, their balance would shift. Alexander awaited her arrival despite her instruction otherwise. How was the office? He asked gently. Tiring. Finalizing the director choices. She removed her shoes. Any updates? His gaze followed her. Not confirmed yet. Emily pecked his cheek swiftly. Shower in bed for me. I prepared a meal. It's chilling if you're peckish. The twinge of remorse Emily experienced was swiftly quashed. Alexander was decent, simply not the ally she required for her aspirations. In the following month, Alexander implemented his strategy with exacting accuracy via a web of proxy entities. He discreetly bargained with Charles Benson for his 23% interest in Apex Solutions. He's prepared to finalize, Laura Simmons stated, presenting the forms on Alexander's workspace. But he insists on meeting the purchaser. Set it up. Reserved area at the Metropolitan Club, Alexander directed, and make the confidentiality pact airtight. No leaks until I decide. The discussion with Benson proceeded seamlessly. The veteran leader was taken by Alexander's outlook for the organization. You're unlike what I pictured, Benson observed over a Bourbon Post signature. Typical acquirers aim to dismantle firms like ours. I'm not typical, Alexander responded. I envision Apex's growth. It requires fresh direction. With Benson's portion obtained, Alexander held 51% dominance known solely to him, Laura, Michael, and Robert Jenkins in Apex's finance. Timeline, Senator Michael inquired while examining the completed takeover files. Emily's director reveal is in 2 weeks. Charles declares his exit the prior day, and I'm presented as the new controller right after. She won't suspect her spouse is now her superior. Michael shook his head. It's nearly artistic. Art isn't my aim. Alexander's words sharpened over recent days. Retribution. Perhaps fairness. Alexander glanced from the papers. Did you secure the info on Jonathan Reed? Michael handed a storage device. All you need to dismantle him is inside. Fiscal logs, proof of liaisons with 3 additional females in the firm beyond Emily and his shady pacts with rivals. Ideal. Alexander stowed it. And the director reveal. The group decided yesterday. Your wife obtained it. It'll be declared at the gathering. Alexander's grin lacked warmth, all aligning perfectly. The evening before her event, Emily tossed restlessly. After years of dedication and calculated steps, tomorrow she'd formally ascend to Senior Director of Operations at Apex Solutions. She grabbed her device, considering messaging Jonathan, but paused. Relations had tensed recently. As the early excitement waned, she noticed his flaws, self-centeredness, subtle harshness, viewing her as an asset, not an equal. But he fulfilled his commitment. She achieved the role and her path was set to ascend. Alexander had astonished her by showing real enthusiasm for her success, even selecting a high-end gown for the occasion. Thoughts of Alexander stirred guilt. He'd been exceptionally caring lately, delivering morning coffee, inquiring about her routine, suggesting a getaway once things calmed. Briefly, Emily pondered if she'd underestimated him, her device alerted with a note from Jonathan. Head just summoned an urgent session. Major reveal tomorrow pre-event. Shift occurring. Emily's heart pounded. What could eclipse her milestone? She texted back, any idea? None, but it's substantial. Charles seemed anxious. Rest evaded her entirely. Emily gazed at the ceiling, worry swirling. After all her concessions, all boundaries crossed, something risked dimming her spotlight. In the adjacent room, Alexander worked at his station, finalizing for the next day. On his monitor, messages from Robert Jenkins verified readiness. The firm-wide notice of Charles's departure at 9 a.m., then the new owner's debut at the 11 a.m. assembly meant for Emily's victory. Alexander shut his system and permitted a brief icy grin. A decade wed 7 months of disloyalty, and tomorrow it would culminate. The event. Morning broke sunny and crisp. Alexander had departed by Emily's awakening. A memo on his cushion noting he'd join her at Apex for the gathering. Her device overflowed with texts, peers offering early kudos on her anticipated rise alongside bafflement over the enigmatic firm update. Jonathan had messaged anew. Charles informed the leadership he's stepping aside. Immediate effect. Fresh owner assumes today. Emily's gut sank. A leadership swap could endanger her efforts. New heads often installed their crews, reorganized the hierarchy. She dialed Jonathan, who responded quietly. Can't chat much. Session starting. Who's the buyer? Impact on my rise. Identity unknown. A quiet backer collecting shares. Regarding your rise, he hesitated. It's proceeding, but whispers of overhaul. Jonathan, I've invested too much. You assured me. I assured advancement, not permanence. Gotta run. Chat at the event. He disconnected. Emily attired deliberately in her fresh crimson dress, her thoughts raced. With ownership shifting, she needed connections, insights, to align with the new regime. She attempted contacting Alexander, but voicemail. See you there. She left. Some upheaval at Apex, head retiring, she added after a beat. Might need your backing today. Alexander occupied Charles Benson's former space, going over the agenda with Robert Jenkins and Sarah Thompson. All leaders and managers notified of Charles's exit. Robert updated. Rumors are rampant about the ownership. Excellent, Alexander affirmed. And the director event. Still set for 11 a.m. in the Grand Hall, Sarah verified. Though focus is more on the new head than promotions. Superb. Alexander glanced at his timepiece. Jonathan Reed. He's contacting all contacts for details, Robert said. He's uneasy. As he ought. Alexander rose and smoothed his bespoke Brooks Brothers ensemble, far from the standard outfits Emily knew him in. Ready for his dismissal, all proof of violations assembled, Sarah nodded. Legal cleared it for prompt removal sans package. Fine. Delay until post-event. I want witnesses to the fate of power abusers. Alexander fixed his platinum links unseen by his wife. Time approaches. Let's move. Emily reached Apex Solutions amid buzzing speculation. Colleagues she typically ignored approached for scoops, figuring as impending director she'd know. Same info as you, she replied evenly, holding poise amid inner chaos. She noticed Jonathan in the entrance area clustered with leaders. He met her eyes, offering a subtle headshake. No fresh data. Heading to the hall, Sarah Thompson approached. "Mrs. Hayes, congrats on your rise." "Appreciate it, Sarah." Emily always viewed the HR lead as briskly competent and somewhat daunting. "Note the arrangement shifts. You'll be at the head table fitting your new status with leaders and the new owner." Sarah's grin was surface level. Quite the privilege. Before Emily could probe, Sarah departed for duties. Emily checked her device, still silent from Alexander. She sent another, "Where are you? Event soon. Need you." The hall filled swiftly, leaders and staff seating atmosphere charged with expectancy. Jonathan neared her eventually. "Updates," she murmured. "Zip." He appeared strained. But this buyer planned long-term. Charles confessed negotiations spanned weeks. "And you were clueless. Thought you had the pulse on everything here." Jonathan's face tightened. "Evidently not. Let me handle intros with the new owner. I've managed transitions." Emily stiffened. "I can manage. Just back me up," he interrupted. Not the moment to assert. Before retort, lights softened and Charles Benson ascended the platform. Silence fell. "Morning, Apex team." Charles started. "As heard today signals a key shift for us. After 3 decades leading, I'm retiring." Whispers spread as Charles expressed thanks for his era at Apex and optimism for ahead, leading to the core news. Charles's tone firmed. Apex Solutions has been purchased by Horizon Ventures, a private equity group with the foresight and means to elevate this firm beyond my visions. Emily eyed Jonathan furiously, searching on his device, likely for Horizon Ventures intel. "Allow me to present the creator and head of Horizon Ventures, now Apex Solutions owner." Charles motioned to the side stage access. Emily's breath hitched as a known silhouette strode assuredly onto the platform. Alexander Hayes, in an unfamiliar, flawless suit, clasped Charles's hand and neared the mic. His stance gait even looked all altered from the unassuming husband she believed. "Thanks, Charles." Alexander's words projected smoothly across the hushed space. His eyes located Emily amid the crowd, her expression stunned. Beside her, Jonathan paled. "For newcomers to me," Alexander proceeded, "I'm Alexander Hayes. I established Vanguard Innovations 15 years past and have grown my holdings via Horizon Ventures. Today, I'm thrilled to incorporate Apex Solutions." Murmurs surged. Emily felt color fade as realities dawned. Her husband, the supposedly ordinary, undriven one, owned her workplace, meaning, "I trust in Apex's promise," Alexander stated. Yet unlocking it demands adjustments, beginning with guidance that upholds honesty, commitment, and authentic drive. Not the sort that tramples peers or leverages private ties for gain. His scan paused briefly on Jonathan before returning to Emily, the intent clear. Jonathan whispered sharply, "You omitted your husband is Alexander freaking Hayes. Know his stature." Emily shook her head dazedly, her reality crumbling. The spouse she'd belittled as lacking ambition, the one she deceived for months, emerged as an industry giant and her overseer. Chapter 5. Calculated Moves. The gathering blurred surreally for Emily. Alexander outlined various structural shifts, affirming some advancements, including hers, while hinting at further evolutions. He never overtly noted their bond, but the strain was tangible. Associates aware of her marriage to an Alexander connected dots. Glances and hushed talks trailed her. As the official parts wrapped, Alexander called the leadership and fresh promotes to a secluded meal. As attendees shifted to the adjacent space, Emily remained rooted. Jonathan seized her arm. "We must discuss immediately." He guided her to a vacant workspace, securing the entrance. "What the hell, Emily?" His features twisted in alarm. "Your spouse is Alexander Hayes, the AI mogul." "I was unaware," Emily said faintly. "He claimed consultant work. We have a standard home everyday vehicles. He never." "Do you grasp the implications?" Jonathan cut in. "He controls the firm. He's our superior. If he knows of us—" "He doesn't," Emily asserted swiftly, though dread nodded. Alexander's remarks on guidance and commitment now felt targeted, intentional. "Hope so." Jonathan paced the compact area. "If he does, we're done. Alexander isn't the forgiving type when challenged, and modest living, that's for concealment or evaluation." A tap at the entrance startled them. Sarah Thompson entered uninvited, her manner neutrally businesslike. "Mr. Hayes requests you at the meal, Mrs. Hayes," she stressed the title, "and Mr. Reed, the panel, seeks you too." "Coming shortly," Jonathan said, fixing his neckwear. Sarah's gaze chilled more. "Individually, I suggest yes." The hint obvious. Emily felt ill following Sarah to the dining area. Jonathan lagged back. Alexander observed his wife arrive, noting her pallor, and Jonathan Reed's deliberate spacing. Robert Jenkins neared, speaking softly. "All set. The panel has Reed's violation files. They're backing removal." "Well done," Alexander assented, "and my wife's advancement remains formal as directed." Robert seemed doubtful. "Certain that's prudent considering—" "Absolutely. I'm relying on it." Alexander grinned narrowly. "Emily's craved authority and acclaim. Let's observe her management when it costs." Across the space, Emily received felicitations with a rigid smile, her glances repeatedly to Alexander. He offered a minor nod on eye contact, then shifted focus to others. The meal advanced with stiff protocol. Alexander navigated leaders and panel with grace, revealing deep Apex operations knowledge that amazed recent acquaintances. At last he neared Emily, isolated by the view her control fraying. "Kudos on your advancement, Director Hayes," he voiced audible to nearby peers. "Your commitment to Apex has been thorough indeed." "Alexander, we must converse," Emily urged lowly. "I never knew you." "Yes, conversation is due," he concurred amiably, "on various matters, but not now. Observers present." He indicated the room subtly, where inquisitive looks lingered. "Please, Alexander." Her tone dropped. "What's happening? Your intent." For an instant the veneer slipped, revealing chill unforgiveness in his eyes. "My intent," he echoed quietly. "Revealing my true self, Emily, as you've revealed yours." Before reply, he addressed the assembly, elevating his voice. "Attention, please. One final update before closing." Silence, instant. Alexander summoned Robert and Sarah. "Apex Solutions prides on ethics and uprightness," Alexander commenced. "Regrettably, I've found not all leaders maintain those norms." Jonathan Reed, mid-force chat with panelists, froze. "Mr. Reed," Alexander faced him squarely, "your role at Apex Solutions ends now." Gasps and buzz arose. "On what basis?" Jonathan demanded, reddening. "Harassment, resource abuse, policy breaches," Alexander enumerated steadily. "Ms. Thompson holds the dossier vetted by law and panel. Clear your space promptly under escort." Jonathan scanned desperately for support, none forthcoming. His eyes settled on Emily. "This stems from her right," he declared loudly, gesturing. "Your wife inquire her late-night locations under work pretense." "Mr. Reed," Alexander's words sliced sharply, "I'm fully aware of my wife's whereabouts and companions. That's private between us. Your ouster relies purely on your repeated offenses with several staff, unless public details preferred." Jonathan silenced. Guards appeared at the threshold. "Gather items and depart." Alexander proceeded levelly. "Any defamation against this firm or personnel invites suits. Farewell." The group observed mutely as Jonathan exited, his standing shattered instantly. Alexander addressed the shocked crowd. "Apex Solutions enters a fresh phase, rewarding merit, ethics, and fidelity, eager to collaborate with aligned visions." His gaze met Emily's, the warning evident. She was in line. Chapter 6. The Revelation. Emily passed the day in lingering dread. Post-meal, Alexander vanished into panel and leadership huddles. She withdrew to her workspace, shut blinds, evading colleagues' visits for kudos laced with probes on her prominent spouse. Her device vibrated with Jonathan's messages. "Your husband framed me. This targets us, admit it. Knew his identity all along. Some twisted ploy. He'll ruin you too." She disregarded them, mind-piecing ramifications. Alexander knew of the affair. Since when the home system? Had he tracked her? His empire, how missed insights aligned horrifically. His timely trips aligning her, Jonathan meets, sudden curiosity in her events, subtle colleague queries. He'd collected data, laid a snare, and she'd entered. At 6 p.m., her line rang. Alexander's voice. "My space now." Per Sarah Thompson's guidance, Emily ascended the coveted executive level, feeling like a sentenced convict. Alexander's new suite, once Charles Benson's, was a panoramic corner with city vistas. He sat at the grand desk, scanning files, ignoring her entry. "Secure the door," he stated bluntly. Emily obeyed, standing uneasily near, uncertain, addressing this unfamiliar husband. "How long aware?" she queried at last. Alexander lowered his stylus, looking up. "The liaison 7 months 4 days from start." The exactness chilled her. "And this all acquiring the firm, today's display, to degrade me." "Not everything centers you, Emily." Alexander's tone emotionless. "Apex Solutions is a smart asset with expansion room, timing suited." "Alexander, please." Emily advanced. I erred gravely. "Let me clarify. Remain back. You're mortifying." Alexander interrupted loudly, jolting her. My spouse snapped at her recognition event. Emily halted, recollection striking hard. 5 months prior, at the sector honors banquet, Alexander attempted joining her up front for team award. She pushed him aside, whispering those words. But as her head approached, she froze. Alexander persisted, rising now, his voice stern. "Ladies and gentlemen, behold your new firm controller." He gestured at himself. The space hushed. He rounded the desk gradually. "That instant, precisely today, when you grasped my reality. When you comprehended the spouse you'd deceived, lied to, dismissed as lackluster and shameful was the figure you'd strive to impress. That justified every dollar for this firm." Emily sensed tears rising. "Alexander, regretful. I unaware you were affluent," he concluded. "And that alters how if I'd stayed the basic strategist you perceived betrayal. Okay. No, naturally not," she faltered. "Not my meaning." "Then your meaning, Emily. No infidelity if known my wealth, vows conditional on power." His serenity more fearsome than fury, Emily sought words to connect. "Alexander, repairable. Therapy perhaps. I'll commit anything." "Nothing repairable," he stated plainly. "Union ended when you chose Jonathan Reed. Today, just official." "What imply?" Panic surged in Emily's voice. "Dismissing me too?" Alexander grinned coldly. "Dismiss? No. You've merited your rise, Emily, via diligence and skill, despite Jonathan's insinuations." Relief surged, then doubt. "Now what? You receive your desire." Alexander resumed his seat. "Authority status duties. Tomorrow report to the leadership board I lead. And us, our union. Separation documents to your space tomorrow. Prenup applies. Retain your holdings. I mine." He met her eyes firm. "I've booked the Ritz-Carlton for you till new residence. Home entry revoked." "Alexander, please," Emily implored, composure breaking. "A decade shared means nothing." "Meant all to me," he responded softly, "till meaningless to you." "Untrue," I faltered. "Falters are overlooked dates or heated words." Alexander interrupted. "Yours was repeated decision months long, facing me daily with deceit." He activated the speaker. "Ms. Thompson, guide Mrs. Hayes out and confirm security updated her access." Sarah materialized promptly, as if stationed. "This direction, Mrs. Hayes," she said detachedly. "Alexander, reconsider." Emily wept openly. "Done?" Alexander said, eyes on work. "Farewell, Emily." As Sarah escorted, Emily looked back. Alexander already calling, advancing as if she'd vanished. "She's holed in her space 3 hours, blinds down," Robert informed Alexander a week post-event. Separation files arrived morning. Alexander nodded, assessing seasonal forecasts on his screen. "And her output, flawless," Robert conceded. "Whatever said of Emily, she's skilled. She's overhauled the operations group and spotted 3 oversights our review missed." "Expected," Alexander noted. "Didn't wed for appearance." Michael, now on Apex's panel, leaned in. "Keeping her post-all, divorcing personal from commerce," Alexander answered. "Unlike others." The speaker activated. "Mr. Hayes, Jonathan Reed in entrance demanding you. Guards ready." His aide stated. "Escort up with protection." Soon an unkempt Jonathan Reed entered Alexander's space, guards flanking. "You've wrecked me," Jonathan snarled, skipping civility. "No firm approaches with your dismissal mark." Alexander regarded him steadily. "Your actions wrecked you, Mr. Reed. I documented." "Personal vendetta over Emily, obvious," Jonathan scoffed. "Felt mighty ruining my path because your wife favored my company." Guards braced, but Alexander signaled ease. "Mr. Reed, if vendetta, you'd fare worse than jobless." Alexander's tone casual. "The 3 other females you pressured for relations via promotion promises might contest your view." Jonathan blanched. "Falsehood." "Sarah holds affidavits from each," Alexander continued. "Kept private for their sake. Revocable any time." "Your demand," Jonathan's bravado waned. None. You're insignificant, Alexander said, though consider the role at our branch in Seattle HR proposed yesterday, likely your sole industry chance. Seattle relocate there? Expect nothing, Alexander replied, offering path from ruin and some career remnant, choice yours, business not personal. You cold manipulator? Jonathan hissed. Alexander smiled faintly. Appreciate the praise. Now absent business guards will exit you. Post Jonathan's removal, Michael admired, shaking head. Seattle harsh, in every sense. Fortunate that's it, Alexander said, resuming tasks. Now, seasonal forecasts. Emily eyed the separation files on her surface, her husband's soon ex-signature bold on paper, terms as stated. She retained personal funds and income. He has massive wealth, no support, no joint assets, clean cut. Weeks since event, she'd scarcely seen Alexander. He interacted via formal paths. In group sessions, same courtesy as others. Humiliation total. Peers once envious now eyed with sympathy and schadenfreude. Whispers omnipresent. Cheated on a tycoon. Blind to own husband's essence. A knock disrupted. Sarah Thompson entered unbidden. Leadership session in 10, Sarah advised. Mr. Hayes wants your seasonal operations strategy. Bringing it. Emily curt. She'd come to loathe Sarah's crisp loyalty to Alexander. Also, Sarah added, Ritz-Carlton called. Stay ends tomorrow. Rebook query. Reminder of homelessness stabbed. Emily focused work salvage, barely hunted housing. Thanks for note, she rigid. Sarah paused at exit. Unsolicited suggestion, Mrs. Hayes. Ms. Carter, Emily amended. She'd reverted maiden name. Certainly. Sarah assented. Ms. Carter, whatever private between you and Mr. Hayes, don't let impact output. He's monitoring closely. For dismissal grounds. For respect grounds, Sarah countered. Despite all, he prizes ability foremost, your sole advance route. With that enigmatic tip, Sarah exited. Emily collected meeting items, scheme emerging. If Alexander valued ability, she'd exhibit peak. Rebuild standing, prove firm worth, compel. Viewing beyond disloyal wife. Soul salvage from life's debris. Across city, Jonathan Reed in his upscale flat half-drained bourbon bottle before him, browsing employment sites. Inquiries met uniform. Resume filed. Alexander Hayes blackballed silently. Sector tight, news spreads. His line rang ex-wife's lawyer on impending split post-ouster. Fees possible. Support no earnings ruin loomed. Seattle offer mocked in inbox. Mid-tier spot at Apex affiliate pay halved. In rainy outpost far from hubs. Alternative sector exit. Restart at 45. Jonathan refilled. Loathing Alexander burned. Must be retaliation method make Hayes suffer for demolition. Idea brewed. Risky, desperate, but potent if done right. Emily insider now equal motive against Alexander. He drafted message. Must converse. Not us downing him. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Hudson Lounge. Solo. Emily gazed at Jonathan's message a minute pre-delete. Whatever plot, no involvement. Rebuilding fragment by fragment, centering sole remnant career. Surprisingly, Alexander honored word. No workplace sabotage or leverage for misery. 3 weeks post-event included in strategy sessions, opinions sought, weighed equally. Odd limbo. Professional esteem with personal dismissal. At Hudson Lounge, Jonathan Reed waited solitary time-checking as 8 p.m. passed. By 9, 4 bourbons down, accepted Emily's absence. His device buzzed, not her. Seattle role filled, prospects with apex and branches closed. HR. Jonathan flung glass at wall, startling patrons. Guards swiftly removed him, adding disgrace. Staggering home, darker scheme shaped, if not professional harm to Alexander Hayes, other avenues for payback. Sir issue. Robert Jenkins, tense online. Jonathan Reed breached entry, evaded guards, heading executive level. Cameras showed jacket bulge. Alexander's mind raced. Alert protection. Lockdown full. Emily's location. Conference on 28th. Team demo. Guards there. Priority. Alexander commanded to private lift. Descending. As Alexander dropped, alarms wailed. Device emergency, armed intruder executive. Lift open to pandemonium. Staff to exits. Guards counter. Alexander advanced deliberately to Emily's conference. He turned corner as Jonathan Reed burst doors, frantic and ragged. Through glass, Alexander saw Emily and team stunned. Pulling hidden pistol from ankle, a safeguard since Vanguard threats, Alexander neared, cautiously concealed from Jonathan's view. Inside, Jonathan ranted wildly, gesturing pocketed gun. All your fault, he yelled at Emily. You and husband demolished all. Alexander gestured, approaching guards to hold. Needed proximity. Await distraction. Jonathan, please. Emily's voice firm. Lower weapon. Useless. Useless, Jonathan laughed harshly. Your husband stole job standing tomorrow. See him lose valued. I'm unvalued. Emily quiet. Divorcing recall. Harm me harms not him. Jonathan wavered, puzzled. Then him post you. Here, Alexander, clear entering frame, pistol steady on Jonathan. Release them, read. Us only. Jonathan whirled, shocked. Think you command like world owner? Not now. He reached jacket, but Alexander quicker. Shot rang, hitting Jonathan's arm. He collapsed, wailing as guards secured him and dropped gun. Alexander surveyed. All safe? Shaken nods. Emily stared at Alexander anew. Mr. Jenkins, insure. Mr. Reed, medical, pre-police. Alexander, calm. Ms. Thompson, HR, coordinate support for affected. As guards hauled, cuffed, bleeding, Jonathan Alexander's eyes met Emily's. Thanks, she plain. Alexander nodded, departing. Day off all. Reschedule demo. Next day, headlines. AI tycoon Alexander Hayes halts armed assailant at Apex Solutions. Portrayed hero, risking for staff including estranged wife. Omitted ties. Jonathan as ousted leader with firm grudges. Emily office found handwritten, your crisis management yesterday commendable. AH. First personal from Alexander Weeks. Unsure advance or courtesy but meaningful. That day, Alexander emergency panel on security response. Surprisingly invited Emily, non-member. As leaders entered boardroom, he aside her briefly. Clarify, he low. Not for you specifically to that room. Same for any threatened staff. Emily held gaze. Understood, but thanks regardless. Something shifted in his eyes. Not pardon, but slight contempt ease. Separation proceeds, he added. Personal, unchanged. Aware. Emily nodded. Signed, with counsel. Alexander nodded to tablehead. Moment faded. But as Emily, seated among, realized shift, first since event looks beyond pity or doubt, stood firm versus armed poise under duress, not absolution, but beginning, and Alexander's notability nod if naught else felt firm footing in months mire. 6 months post-event altering all Apex Solutions marked record profitable period historically. Under Alexander's helm, firm ventured new sectors, optimized processes, lured elite from competitors. Same span, Emily revamped operation systems, boosting efficiency, 30%, cutting expenses notably. Her initially wary team grew to admire her expertise and approach. Divorce concluded 3 months prior, low media. Alexander's comms team crafted amicable split narrative, both sustaining Apex professional tie. Jonathan Reed sentenced at 7 years attempted armed attack. Descent total, permanent, surface stable. Beneath Emily adrift, luxe but impersonal apartment never homely. Career triumph, once core drive hollow sans share. Dated sporadically accomplished suitors keen with tycoon's ex, none sparked true. Quiet times, thoughts to Alexander pondering alternate paths, choices potential genuine build. Alexander upheld strict work boundary, leadership meets impartial as others, occasional shared functions, brief civilities, pre-opposite rooming. At one charity ball, Apex major sponsor Emily spotted terrace chance for non-work Alexander talk. He solitary with whiskey as approached. Northwest deal sealed, she said, professional pretext. Early. Noted report. Alexander assented. Solid effort. Silence lingered, weightier. Alexander, Emily ventured. 6 months. Can we converse as individuals, not co-workers? His look altered faintly. Purpose? Closure, perhaps, she offered. Or a firm decade marriage existed pre-end. Alexander assessed long. Acknowledge what Emily good phases pre-betrayal. True links pre-you deeming me insufficient. Unfair, she soft. Wrong done but union issues pre-Jonathan. You distant guarded, concealed whole life. Selective sharing, Alexander amended. Sought value for me not wealth. Proved pertinent, yes. Emily averted. Deserved, but believe married not for unknown money, for shared build. Then demolished for advancement, his even words cut. Wasn't solely advancement, Emily confessed. About feeling recognized, appreciated. Jonathan empowered ways you didn't. Via false praise manipulation, Alexander queried, damning what you prize. Emily silent. They stood quiet, observing guests via doors, worlds parallel, unlinked. Question Alexander eventual, back knowing all me Jonathan self still betray, Emily pondered. No, eventual. Not wealth power, but learned integrity over rise. Trust shattered irreparable. Actions echo beyond envision. Alexander nodded subtle. Valuable lesson then. You, she asked. Learned from this. Trust instincts, he post-pause. Suspected ambition, outpace loyalty start. Should acted, not hoped error. Grim lesson, Emily gentle, realistic. Alexander drained whiskey, back inside. Alexander, Emily halted via arm touch, first months. Worth whatever sorry, not catch consequence but hurt, shattered potential real if chance given. Alexander eyed hand then face, moment raw honesty past, glimpse pain under control. Believe sorry Emily to the eventual, but apologies meant not some. He gently detached returned ball, leaving her terrace with unplaced regrets. 2 weeks post. Emily summoned Alexander's space, found him files with Robert Jenkins, Michael Brooks, now known oldest ally advisor. You requested, she door standing, yes, enter. Alexander chair gestured. Robert Michael moment please. Men exited door shut. Direct, Alexander said alone. Horizon Ventures expands global. Zurich European base opening needs operations lead. Emily's heart raced. Considering me. Offering, Alexander corrected. Senior VP European Ops Board direct report. Substantial pay bump shares, full team higher autonomy. Emily probed motive. Why me? Best fit, Alexander simple. Past 6 months work outstanding. Merited unrelated personal. And continent distance. Faint Alexander smile. Side perk, yes, but business primary. Role needs you capable. Emily weighed. Zurich clean slate sans gossip glances. Prestigious role on merit not link. Start when? 3 weeks, Alexander. Transition relocate time. Decline. Stay current. Alexander shrugged. No mandate, Emily. Opportunity. Decide future-based. Emily inhaled deep. Accept. Alexander nodded, expected. Laura contracts afternoon. Sarah relocation aid. He resumed papers. Dismissal. Emily rose, door paused. Any real Alexander us? He looked inscrutable. Portions insufficient evidently. Emily nodded most extractable. Goodbye, Alexander. Goodbye, Emily. Work resuming. Success, Zurich. 3 months later, Alexander penthouse window city lights below. Michael nearby chair, both with aged bourbon. Pamela says Emily excelling Zurich, Michael noted. European ops 20% over targets. Unsurprising, Alexander. Personal flaws aside, professional exceptional. Regrets. Michael eyed friend. End handling. Alexander pondered. Exposing betrayal, none. Decade in unworthy trust. Firm buy revenge scheme. Worth. Apex shares up 45% post-buy, Alexander. Financially, yes. Not question, no. Alexander window turned. Her realization faced my true self-satisfaction. Yes, sleep better. Jonathan Reed's path standing ruined, yes. But revenge restores not broken, Alexander admitted. Rebuilds not trust or people faith. Justice not mending. Michael nodded reflective. Next firm billions validation. Alexander genuine smiled rare. Build unbetrayable beyond personal bonds or solo goals. The initiative others, Alexander confirmed. Too long reacting betrayal. Time create enduring. And Emily, if excels Zurich benefits, firm her. Alexander shrugged. Business, personal chapter shut forever. Good, Michael toasted. Closed chapters, new starts. Alexander clinked. And lessons painful education. Outside city pulsed indifferent to dramas within. Alexander Hayes, lost wife, gained insight, discovered calculation patience, ruthlessness, capacity betrayed. Some deem cold. He survival, survived now, thrive legacy immune, misplaced trust or deceit. Costly lesson education, full. In the end, this story reminds us that trust forms the bedrock of any bond, and betrayal brings profound repercussions. Prioritize integrity above all ambitions for genuine achievement stems from character and resilience, not shortcuts or deception.